I'm going to talk to you today about journaling for clarity. And I'm a really busy person. I don't always journal because I just don't take the time, but there are crucial, pivotal times in my life and in my relationships where journaling becomes a very prioritized therapeutic exercise and part of helping me to detach, to take care of myself, to figure out how to speak my truth, to set boundaries, to look at my fears, all of the things that I teach. Sometimes that journaling is just absolutely necessary. So, what are some of the things that you can do with journaling? And by journaling, I mean taking any pad of paper. It could be a cute journal book. It could be, I have different journals for different things that I use sometimes. It could be just a yellow pad of paper, a secretary like spiral book, or a notebook that you would use for a class. Doesn't matter. There's no journal that you have to have in order to journal. It can be the back of a napkin if you're at a restaurant and you've got some thoughts in your head that you want to put down. It could be in your phone if you need to, or on your computer by typing things out. So the first thing that journaling does is it helps you to organize your thoughts. If you've got a busy mind and you've got all kinds of stuff going around in your mind about a relationship problem, a relationship issue, a problem in your own life, something that you're really upset about that happened, or a difficulty, chronically in a relationship, whatever that is. If you've got all kinds of thoughts, it helps to get them out on paper and organize them. Just to write them down and make some kind of order. These are the reasons I want to do this. These are the reasons I don't want to do this. These are the positives about this person. These are the negatives about this person. These are the things that I'm thinking that I want to talk about. These are the issues I don't want to talk about. These are the things that are I don't like, but I can accept about the person in the relationship. These are the things that are unacceptable. It doesn't matter. These are the reasons that I enable. I think, these are the reasons I enable. These are my fears, letting go of enabling. These are my reasons I want to enable. I mean, these are all things that you can do to organize the thoughts going through your mind to get somewhere with them instead of just having go round and round. And that's also purging yourself of obsessive thoughts and emotions. When we're in a crisis in our relationship or we're still in that heavy place of codependency, where we're thinking compulsively all the time about a relationship or a problem person, the thoughts are just all consuming, and you got to do something with them. And at those times, I found that it's helpful to just literally write everything out. Again, you can organize it or not organize it. It just depends on where you're at and what it is. But you want to just get them out of your head onto paper. And you can tell yourself, I'm going to write all of these down. They're going to be there. I'm not going to forget them because they're on this paper. They're in that book. But then I'm just going to choose to not think about it anymore. Sometimes that will help you, like to just say, I don't have to think about it because it's down there. I can go back and I can read it if I need to. It's there. The next one is to write prayers to God. We do a lot of verbal praying, and that's absolutely fine. But sometimes there are times where writing a prayer out to God is really therapeutic. And I think doing that when you're at important junctures in your life, when there's something major that you want to ask God of, something you want to make a record of, or just a way to pour everything out and then to go back and read it and learn from what's in your heart and what you're thinking and refer back to it. Maybe pray it every day for a week or a month because it's something that you really want God to do in your life and you want to just kind of mark that time and you want to review it. So writing prayers out to God, super important. And a lot of people have suggested that when you journal, and I think this can be depending on what it is you're journaling about, that you literally take the pen, you put it on the paper and you don't lift it. You don't stop and think because you don't want to really filter what's coming out. You want to actually discover what's coming out of you when you're journaling, some emotions, some thoughts, some words, some things that are, going on there, beliefs that you didn't know you had. You want stuff to flow out that you are like, oh gosh, that's in me. And so it's kind of like purging. You don't want to be critical and analytic with it. You just want to let everything flow. Don't worry about your grammar. Don't worry about your neatness. Don't worry about spelling, punctuation. Don't even worry about being Christian, okay, and making sure that your language is like acceptable to God, or you're not saying things that God would get upset over. Trust me, He knows what's in there. He knows. So you want to put it all down so that you can see it, and also that so that you can get it out. Diminishing confusion from gaslighting, from crazy makers, from abusive people, from people who tell you that your truth is not true for you, that try to invalidate you. This was absolutely something that I did for years, and I would have notebooks filled. I had a box. I wish I knew what happened to it. I don't know where it is. Someday I want to find it and just go back and read it. I think maybe not. But I would write what I said, what happened from my perspective, what happened from the other person's perspective. And then I would go back with a different color pen after I looked at it and I thought it through, and I knew somewhere in my being what was right. And then I would use a red pen and write the truth, okay, on the side of that, or write it over it. And I would start to see patterns from that. And I would be able to, when I was really struggling with not believing what the other person was telling me over my own perceptions, I really took a lot of time to write down conversations, arguments, demands that were met. And then I would make reasons that's not reasonable, reasons that that's not true, reasons that that can't be the way that it happened, reasons that that wasn't my motive, like I was told, or that wasn't my intention. Really, really helpful with that. You've got to do lots of journaling whenever anybody is telling you that your perceptions are wrong and trying to make you feel like you're crazy. Figuring out your boundaries. Boundaries are not something, unless they're over really easy things, that just are there. It's a process. And when I teach my class on boundaries, I teach a boundary setting process, and you can actually write it down, what the boundaries are. How do I figure out what is okay with me, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, what isn't okay with me? Writing out your boundaries. What are your choices? What are the options you have in the situation? What are the benefits of each one? What are your hesitancies over doing each of those? So going through anything that has to do with your boundaries, super helpful. Then there's affirmation, journaling to affirm what you're learning. So what you're reading, what you're learning in a 12-step program, in a support group, in a class, however, what you learned from this video, what you learned from what God's doing in your heart, or what you're processing at that time in your life, writing down affirmations which affirm what you're learning and how you will apply it to your life. So you're going to put down there, this is how I'm going to take care of myself. Okay. And so that's affirming. I am going to learn to take care of myself. I'm going to work on that. These are the areas that I'm going to work on taking care of myself. This is how I'm going to apply that principle to my life at this time. And so you can use journaling for affirmations. Also, assigning responsibility. If you're having a struggle in a relationship, you can do what I call a relationship inventory, which is basically looking at the whole relationship and figuring out what's going on, right? Why are you at this stalemate? Why are you at this dry period? Why are you both mad at each other? Does it feel like maybe you're pulling away? Whatever that is, and try to figure out who's responsible for what in the relationship. Now, it's not always easy because you've got blindness about your own self. We all have blind spots where we can't see truth, but we also have a pretty good idea about, as long as you're able to self-examine and figure out what's going on in your life and admit when you're wrong, then, you can have a pretty good idea, and God can work in your heart and show you things. So, writing out about a relationship and figuring out the responsibility, what you can work on. And then the last one is to decrease anger. So there are times when you're full of anger. Anger is emotional energy. Anger is something that drives you. And you've got to do something with anger. That's why people, when they get angry, they get physical. They hit something, they throw something, they kick something, hopefully not a person. And you've got to do something with that. Well, sometimes writing all the vitriol, all the ugliness, all the awfulness on paper out, and that's a good time when you don't lift your pen from the paper. You just hold your pen there and say everything, not that you would say to the person, not that you would ever give to the person, but just dump it. Just dump it out of you. Every single thing, get it out, right? That is a good way to decrease some of the anger. And then you can try to make sense of it. Like, what is overboard? What doesn't feel right for this? Why am I so angry? Why am I going to work through all of that? So decrease anger. So I'm just going to go over them again very quickly without any explanation. You can journal to organize your thoughts, purge yourself of obsessive thoughts and emotions, write your prayers to God, diminish confusion from gaslighting, figure out your boundaries, affirm and integrate what you are learning, identify your responsibility and assign responsibility in a relationship. And the last one is to purge yourself of anger. So I would recommend that if you haven't tried journaling and one of those fits, let's go ahead and try it. And if you have done some of it and you like it, you've got some new areas to do it, then you've got some new ways to journal. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship.